Welcome to season 5, episode 7 of Burner Talk. You are now listening to the podcast that keeps it real all the time. I'm your host, Jay Fudge, back at it again with another brand new episode. Glad to be back on the pod and getting out more content, man. I've been busy, been grinding, stacking that bread up. Glad to be back, and thank you to everyone who stuck with me. Burner Talk is a brand, it's still growing. Got the merch, got the shirt on. I appreciate everybody that's still tuning in to my episodes. Appreciate you guys, and I don't plan on stopping. But without further ado, let's welcome today's guest. He's a comedian from Jersey City. I met him on board the Carnival Vista back in June, and I love the show so much. I just decided to have a conversation with him, bring him on the show. He's performed in shows all across the country. He's produced shows for Showtime, HBO, Comedy Central, and BET. Without further ado, let's welcome Vince Royale to the show. Say what's up to the Burner Talk audience, and let
What
us know
up,
how you're
Burner
feeling today.
Talk? What up, Jay? Thanks for having me, man. Congrats on season 5, by the way, man. This is crazy
Thank you.
that you put in that much commitment to a podcast. I've been thinking about doing a podcast for like 15 years, and I just procrastinated,
Oh
So
wow,
a lot of props to you. Everybody keeps telling me you need to do a podcast, man. I just don't have the patience and the time right now, but maybe in the future. But congrats, man, on putting in season 5, five
yes sir.
seasons of Burn the Talk Radio. Like I told you earlier, man, I came in blindly, so I have no idea what the topics are. Don't know what
Yeah,
you're gonna ask. If we're gonna get deep, or we're gonna get funny. I don't know what we're gonna do. Burn the Talk.
yeah.
So let me ask you this: why Burn the Talk? Why is it called Burn the Talk? It's not. Is it about cooking? It's about
No,
cannabis? Is it arsonist podcast? What Burn the Talk?
nah, none of those. I was gonna say you said 15 years ago, so you were ahead of the game a little bit because that was before podcasts started popping, before
I know,
everybody
man.
got,
I should have
got
started.
into it.
I
But yeah,
started
you were
comedy.
ahead
Yeah,
of the
I
curve.
started comedy about 16 years ago, and back then it was just like YouTube and Vine.
Gotcha. But yeah, Burner Talk, like how it originated, is from Kevin Durant, the basketball player.
Mm.
So there was a big thing. I think it was back in 2016. It was around when he went to the Warriors. He created a lot of like burner accounts that people have on Twitter that
Ah,
people have separate accounts. So, maybe they'll get on another account and talk shit or do whatever, but
gotcha.
so it doesn't
That,
fall back on them.
sometimes that's how your exes be doing you. If you got a crazy ex girlfriend, a crazy ex boyfriend, they create burner accounts just
Yes,
so they can
exactly.
keep up on your life. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly. So Katie
No.
was doing that and people were making a big deal about it. And honestly, I don't know why that came into mind, but I just thought it was cool. Like it was catchy, burner talk, burner account. I was trying to think of a name, but that's where it originated from is, basically saying whatever is on your mind without having, backlash.
I
Best way to
like
put it. So like a burner account in a way. But yeah,
it.
that's where it came from.
See, if I knew that was the theme, I would have wore a mask or something.
For
Like, oh,
sure.
who's that mysterious comedian on the other end? And
Yeah, I was like,
I would
yeah,
have
maybe I
changed my
should have
voice
hid my identity, just kept it as
pitch.
burner talk. Don't even introduce myself. I'm not Jay Fudge. It's just burner talk. But yeah, that's where it came from. That was the inspiration. But yeah, what have you been up to? You live in LA, right? Like how's it out there?
Yeah, so I'm out in LA base right now. I've been here 16 years. I still go back and forth. Like I still got family in Jersey, so I'm pretty much bi-coastal. But I travel so much. But LA is the home base right now. Like I just got back from Dallas. We did
Oh, what happened? Did I lose you?
see your picture in front of a
Oh,
beach.
well, I just lost you for like 20 seconds. Okay.
Oh, I'm good. What's the last thing you heard?
Uh, I think you said a picture in front of a beach or something like that.
No, that was you because yeah, I lost your video. So
Oh,
just
oh,
it was just a picture of you in front of the beach.
oh, yeah. I lost you for 20 seconds. Okay, but yeah, you can go back to what you were saying if you remember.
Are you good? No,
Yeah, I don't lost you. What is going on right now? Skype, got a little Skype. It's always something. Did you just lose me again?
Yeah,
I
like
don't I don't know what's
just
happening.
just the visual. Like I keep losing your video.
Yeah, it's the same thing's happening with you. I don't know what's going on.
Uh,
But okay. All right. Hopefully it chilled out on that. But
like I was saying, and yeah, I just got
yeah,
back from Dallas, Las Vegas, and
yeah,
Honolulu. And this week I'm headed to Miami to do some shows out there. So it's been a crazy journey, Jay.
yeah, for
16
sure.
years of stand-up comedy, but it's been a blessing. You know, I had to put in the work and grind it out before I can build my network so I'm able to do shows all over the country. And it's all about, keeping your head in the game. You know how it
Yeah.
is. It's
Yeah,
one of
absolutely.
those that you got to do it from a place of passion.
Right.
You can't start off doing something like be like, I'm gonna make millions of dollars doing this hobby that I'm doing or what I enjoy. It all started as a hobby. This was something that I was just doing because it was fun for me. It was therapeutic to get on stage, tell my little jokes,
Yeah.
and vent. Eventually, I started getting really committed to what I'm doing. What started twice a week, 3 times a week, turned
Hmm.
into 7 days a week, 2, 3 times a night. And eventually, if you do something so many times, you actually develop a skill set. And
Right.
so I remember my first year of doing stand up, like I said, it was just a hobby. I was coming out of depression. And it was one of those like, man, this is something that's keeping me sane. I have this creative outlet. And and eventually I'm starting to get booked for like regular real comedy shows at comedy clubs, casinos. And I was a road comic for many years until you saw me on the cruise ships. I've only
Right.
been on cruise ships going on 3 years, but it's a blessing, man. I get to see the world. So, you
Yeah,
know
and I
what?
was
I'm not per se like a super famous comedian. There are a lot of very successful multi-millionaire comedians, Kevin Hart, for example, stuff like that. But I'm at that point in my career that I'm actually a working comedian. I'm constantly, you know what? This
Mhm.
is what I never thought I'd be doing this when I first started doing what I did. It's like, wait,
right.
I'm doing what I love full time and I'm traveling the world, you know? I'm like I cruise about 4 or 5 times a month, which is crazy to me, because
Yeah,
it
it's gotta
is
be a blessing.
man, it's amazing. You see how beautiful Aruba was. So when we met, I was actually
Yeah.
working at
Yeah.
cruise line when we met. So I had the opportunity to meet you in Aruba. Out of
Right.
every place in the world, I met you in the Caribbean. You know, so it was like it's pretty dope. And you caught me on the ships, obviously doing shows. So I'm honored, man, to be able to share my journey with you with somebody that, like I said, to hold on one second. The air conditioners creating background noise.
It's all
It's all
good.
live interview.
But
But
yeah.
no, man, it's crazy. It's been a crazy journey, man. So I'm here. I'm open. I'm an open book. Whatever you want to ask about this, like I said, I'm honored to even do your podcast. I've done a lot of podcasts before, and some of them turn out weird. To be in somebody's basement and like be
Yeah.
cooking meth in the background, and I'm like, oh
Oh man.
man, kind of this ain't the burner talk
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to
We're
be
not
in.
yeah, we're not like that over here. I promise. No basements, no meth, no reptiles. Yeah. We was talking real stuff. But yeah, I appreciate you, man. And something you mentioned earlier about how you use this as a creative outlet because you were going through a depressive state. That's actually how I got into starting Burner Talk 3 years ago with my podcasting because I thought I had a voice. I could use this as an outlet, as a platform to speak about different topics, different ideas that I enjoy talking about, also with different people from different backgrounds that also enjoy talking about the same things I talk about. And it kind of just became a whole thing. And I use this as an outlet to get me out of that state, like you mentioned how you did with comedy. So it's kind of similar in that way, how we're both working in the, like the
Man,
media entertainment profession.
definitely, man. You know what? Stick with it, man. A lot of people give up. A lot of people I started comedy with 15, 16 years ago. I don't hear from them anymore. I mean, life happens, and I'm
Yeah,
just one of the few that stuck with it. I almost quit during the pandemic. There was no work for comedians back then, but I had
right.
the opportunity. It's funny is because coming out of pandemic, when they started opening up comedy clubs, I started getting calls again, and I'm like, wait a minute, man. All right, cool. And then I got a call from a talent booker for cruise ships, and they said they're looking for more comedians on ships because a lot of the veteran comedians on ships started to retire. So I had an opportunity to get in there. A lot of guys on the ships they've been there for like 20, 30 years.
Yeah,
So that was pretty dope for me to get in during the right time because I was like ready to quit comedy at that point. I was like, man, this ain't bringing me no money.
for
Maybe
sure.
I need to consider doing like going back and going back to school and learning a trade or something. And
Yeah,
so I'm glad I'm able to be in a place where I can do what I love and make a living doing it.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the goal for everybody. And on the flip side, for me, I started the podcast during COVID because that was when everybody was home. So, it was easier to reach out to people, easier to make connections in that way. So
Yeah,
I
it's
try to
crazy.
take
Like,
advantage
a
of it.
lot of a lot of entertainers blew up during the pandemic through TikTok. I
Yeah,
wish
exactly.
I was too depressed to start doing funny videos. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, this
I feel like
stuff.
everybody was depressed at that time,
Yeah,
honestly.
but there were people who made the best of it, man. They started
Yeah,
blowing up. TikTok started popping, and um, like a lot of comics would post their crowd work videos on TikTok, and they just blew up. And I'm like, damn, I should have did
yeah,
that. No, man. But you know what? Everybody got their own path, their own lane, and I'm blessed. Like I said, it was a hidden blessing because a lot of people left the ships during the pandemic, and I got an opportunity to be performing in cruise lines, and I still do comedy clubs too. So it's not just
yeah.
cruise ships. Like I said, I just got done performing in Vegas, Honolulu, and Dallas, and I'm going to Miami before I join another ship. So it's pretty dope to still perform in clubs because not everybody can afford to go on a cruise ship, obviously.
Right. Yeah,
So and I get it,
they're
but
expensive.
yeah, it's pretty dope though. Like I said, it's better than being a road comic. I was a road comedian for many years, meaning that I used to drive hours and hours from one gig to another. Like my gigs used to be like 6 to 10 hours apart. I'd go from
Oh wow.
like Southern California to New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, man, Idaho, and Montana. I don't know. It was crazy, man. I felt like a truck driver. There are plenty of
Yeah,
times I pulled over and slept on the side of the road or a rest stop hoping the serial killer won't break into my car type of thing. Man, it
for
was just
sure.
crazy. I've had some crazy situations just being on the road.
Yeah, I was saying that's got to get tiring. Like I love traveling myself. So like, what's your favorite location that you've ever been?
Man, you know what? I would say Hawaii so far.
That's where
I
you
never,
just were, right?
yeah, I was just in Hawaii. It's just a cool vibe. Everybody's chill, down to earth vibe, laid back, and they're
Yeah,
just fun loving people. I mean, there's so many different places that I enjoy performing at. Obviously, like I enjoy the cruise ships, and but as far as like being in a place it doesn't even feel like you're in it feels like you're in another country when you're in Hawaii. Culturally, it's so different. People are nice and
yeah,
laid back, and the weather's amazing. If you ever
yeah, for
go to
sure.
Hawaii, man, make sure you stay for like at least a week and really enjoy the weather, and you probably won't want to go back home.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I'm going on vacation, it's got to be a week. I can't stay for like 4 days. I don't feel like I
Yeah,
got
I
my
mean, don't get
money's
me
worth.
wrong. Like the Caribbean where we were at, it's nice
Yeah,
too. I like it. And then, but
yeah, it was very
Hawaii,
nice.
Hawaii is paradise, man.
But yeah, it's crazy how you can travel the world and make connections. And like I said, I just came up to you, asked about your interest in the show, and now here we are. So and we met in Aruba, like you said, or wait,
Exactly.
or is it
Aruba. It was
St.
no,
Thomas?
no. It was. I keep saying Aruba. I think it was St.
Yeah,
Thomas.
yeah. You
Sometimes I
got you.
lose
Yeah, you
my
got me
eye.
saying Aruba. I was like, did we even go to Aruba?
It's either St. Martin or St. Thomas. One
Yeah,
of those.
it was one of the Saint Islands. Yeah,
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
but
Obviously,
yeah,
I'm getting the islands confused. Yeah, but you're right. I think it
yeah,
was St. Thomas. But it's great to connect. It's something I learned recently that so- sometimes I'm too afraid to come up to like a comedy booker or producer, and then one of my OG mentors told me, man, closed mouths don't get fed. You gotta speak up and say something. I'm like, you're right, man. The worst they're gonna
yeah,
say is, nah, I'm good. And it's part of life, man. Sometimes rejection is good for you.
yeah.
One,
Absolutely.
either because there's another path that's open for you, or that's not necessarily the way to go. Sometimes people will get discouraged because they've been hitting up this one person, they never show them any love. But that one door is not always the end all be all.
Right.
You know what I mean? I used to
Yeah.
get discouraged, be like, man, these people never call me back. They don't respond to my messages or emails. I ain't never gonna perform there. I'll never get the opportunity to be on that show or podcast or whatever. And then next thing you know, somebody else will see you and appreciate what you do. And another door
Mm,
will open and you'll be like, you know what? That's a blessing in disguise.
exactly.
Sometimes the
Yeah.
rejection sometimes is a blessing in disguise or a mistake. Some people get discouraged and scared to do what they're meant to do because they're scared to take that leap of faith. You know, a
Right.
lot of artists get stuck because they feel like they're not good enough or they have like, it's one of those things, man. I see so many talented people that I know personally that don't get a chance to really shine because they hold themselves back. They don't take that risk, right? They're scared of, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just
Don't get
fear
out
of
of their comfort
failure,
zone.
or maybe even fear of success. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
and then there's people out there that are less talented than some people that you know that are shining because they took that leap of faith and were just
Right.
like, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm gonna act stupid and just create these videos that go viral, and next thing you know, they got book deals, movie deals, they're selling out comedy clubs or whatever the case is. And
Yeah.
so my thing is just do you, man. Just take that leap of faith. Who cares, you know? Uh,
And
I, I, plenty of times, sometimes rejection is good for you
for
because maybe
sure.
it's not meant for you. Because the thing is like one no is not going to define you the rest of your career, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you just got to take everything with a grain of salt, keep pushing. And in this day and age, it's so easy to blow up. I feel like you mentioned this in one of your jokes on the but the hot tour girl, I know you know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, she has a reality show now for saying hot tour
It's crazy, man.
in an interview, and that happened here in Nashville on Broadway.
That's crazy.
So that's just crazy to think about. She has a
Yeah.
reality show, she's got TV show, all this stuff just
CJ,
from a
that
random
that means
interview.
that could have been you. You could have been out there hot
Right.
touring.
Right. Hopefully not under that circumstance, but yeah, it's just crazy to think about how quick everything can change,
No, it's crazy when I started comedy. You know, a while ago that we didn't even have the formula was you need to just get on TV and get on late night and stuff like that, and your career is set. These days, it's all about views and followers and all that, and that's how they determine, who's gonna get booked for the major comedy club. But
Right.
that's the formula now. Who knows? Maybe that might change in a few years. But for me, bottom line is you just have to work on your skill set and your talent, you know. So when that time does come, and
So you'll be
I
prepared.
get be prepared.
Yeah.
Because one thing I don't want to happen is just I blow up off a stupid viral video and I wasn't ready. You
Right.
know, I feel like there's some people just blow up too prematurely And there's instances where a lot of viral content creators start getting booked by comedy clubs and they can't deliver because they don't have the skill set. So for me, it's about just
Exactly.
being prepared, but also not to discredit anyone that's doing creative content. And because I think it's necessary and it's creative, it's another art form in itself. I think it's just a balance of both. But I come from when I started comedy is very it's an art form that my mentors told me you just have to respect the art form, man. So I stay with it, and I want to make sure, like I said, if I'm presented with an opportunity to be in a big platform, I want to make sure I deliver. Like, all right, cool, man, we made the right choice. This guy is talented. He funny. I
For
don't know.
sure.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just ranting. I don't know where I'm going with my thoughts.
Oh no, it's all good. See, you're doing good. We're like 20 minutes in, and I haven't even gotten to a question I had set up. So,
Oh man, let's bring it on, baby.
see,
Bring it on.
that's yeah, we just make conversation, free conversation. That's how these episodes usually go. But yeah, it was a good start. So this may be a little deep. I don't know. You can judge it on your own. But
All
I
right.
got this question for you. So you said you were going through a breakup when your comedy career started. So in retrospect, are you glad that as a canon event, for lack of better terms, helped as a runway
Yeah.
for your career, or is there some regret there, or do you think you would be where
No,
you are now even without that happening?
it's crazy because I needed back then when of course, nobody wants to break up with somebody they're really in love with or into.
Yeah.
At that time I thought my world was over. I thought it was, that's it, man. My life is over. I'm just gonna be a professional alcoholic hanging out at dive bars, and this is what I'm gonna be for the rest of my life. I'm gonna be a loser.
Right.
But in retrospect, if that never happened, I would have never decided to hang out at these dive bars where they had amateur open mic nights,
Right.
you know, and it attracted me it drew me to comedy. So I'm glad that did happen because looking back, that if that never happened, I would have never chose this path that I'm on now. So I'm glad sometimes some people need something drastic to happen in their life to push them to what their purpose is, you know? So I'm glad I'm
Yeah.
blessed, like I said, so sometimes what you think is a missed opportunity or a mistake or a failure can result to something shifting your direction. So I'm glad it
Hmm.
did shift. And I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that did happen. You know,
Right. Right. Yeah. That's why I asked because
I'm in a
everything's
better
like,
place now. I would have never discovered that I enjoy doing comedy or I
yeah.
enjoy working on my craft. And my thing is like, so so what? You know what? We're all living this human experience. This is life. You know, sometimes things don't work out the way planned. Maybe there's something better, and you'll discover about yourself. You're like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I like being a woodcutter. You know, I don't
For
know. I'm
sure.
just using an
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. I feel
So
you.
it sounds ridiculous. Look, because I can't. I went to school for business. I went to school for marketing, and I thought I was going to work for a company, move up in the corporate ladder, and I don't know. And nothing, man. After my breakup, I tried to get jobs. I couldn't get any work anywhere, and I ended up working at a minimum wage job at Disneyland. When I first moved to Cali, right, I worked at Disneyland,
Yeah.
which I thought was going to be the happiest place on earth, and it's going to help me through my depression. It was even more depressing to find out that people in the break room were smoking chain smoke. You know what the characters? I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to say this, but the magic disappeared when they took the mask off. The characters of Disney.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
ever been to Disneyland or Disney World, you don't want to see that, man.
Right.
I was in the break room. They took off their mask, and I'm like, these people
Yeah.
making the chain smoker, man. I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
Mickey Mouse, a chain smoker.
at that time, yeah. I hope he quit. You know,
Oh man.
nicotine will destroy your body, Mickey.
Dang. So it's yeah, where all your dreams come true, huh? In the
Yeah,
break room.
it was yeah, it was eye opening, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to, I don't want to be in the break room watching my favorite Disney characters killing themselves with cancer sticks.
Right. Right. That'll humble you quick.
Yeah, and yeah, it was one of those things that yeah, I need to do something different with my life. So I mean, when the beginning, when I first started stand-up comedy, of course it wasn't like consistent pay, you know. I mean, I remember when I first got my paid gig, it was like $25 for gas and some chicken wings, you know, and
Yep.
and I was happy. It didn't take until, like I said, I'm 16 years in. It wasn't until like 3 years ago that I'm actually doing this full time. Now this is all I need to do. I mean, before, you know, as an artist, you can't always just be making a living as an artist, you know,
Right. You
because
gotta
you
have your
don't
side
have.
hustles.
Yeah, I had so many side hustles, and the thing is, what's crazy is I couldn't keep a 9 to 5 job because I always had to get up and go and hit the road. So I had to
Yeah.
create side hustles for myself for throughout years. I've done everything from like sales to donating plasma
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
volunteering at clinical studies. You know, crazy stuff, man. I took part in focus groups. You know, I did everything, man.
You know, to
To
make ends meet, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people moved to California, lost into to LA. A lot of artists, movie stars, and comedians. I'm pretty sure Nashville has a community of artists that want to be the next big singer. You know, I know they
Yeah.
have a great music scene. A lot
Yeah.
of artists will. I don't know how it
Capital
is in
country music.
Nashville. Yeah, but in LA, a lot of them become like servers, you know, because it's flexible, so so they can have time during the day to audition for their movie or TV roles. But I'm pretty sure I don't know how the music scene is. How is it out there in Nashville?
It's basically from what I've heard, I haven't seen it personally, but like a lot of people go on Broadway and they book shows and they sing in front of people on the weekends. I guess like their own personal written stuff, and maybe there'll be someone there like a talent agent, and they notice them and they get booked. So yeah, Nashville is music city, like the capital country music, like I said. So a lot of careers have started here.
Bro, I can't wait. You know, I think Nashville is one of the few places I have not performed comedy in, but I meet people on cruise ships from Nashville all the time, or Memphis and different places in Tennessee. They're like, you need to come
Right.
out here. So I'm excited. Like I said, maybe in the future I'll be able to perform and be like, yo, Jay,
Oh
see,
yeah. Yeah, for
remember
sure. I'll be there.
I was in your podcast. Remember when I had less than 20,000 followers on Instagram, which I'm actually comfortable with. You know what's crazy? And I never told
Yeah.
anybody this. This is something like I've been. Sometimes I have a lot of friends with like millions of followers on their Instagram or whatever, TikTok, and it's just weird because you don't know. You know, you got a lot of different weirdos following you, and you don't know who's watching. So I'm like, you
Right.
know what? I'm all right with less than the 20,000 followers right now because nobody's stalking me when I go to the Family Dollar or
Yeah.
Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I think, being a celebrity, having that many followers, it can be a pain.
Yeah,
Cause
because my thing is like I'm all right because I'm at that point in my career that I'm still doing what I love. I'm getting paid for it. So why do I
right.
really need 1 million people on my social media and just to make it weird? I'm already weirded
Yeah.
out when people approach me at cruise ships, and it's just
Yeah.
one of those things like man, and it's cool. Like I'll show everybody love. That's how we connected. But imagine like that times 20.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm like, man, look, man, I'm just trying to take a shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
you good?
that's what I was hoping I avoided when I came up to you. I was hoping it was like, who is this guy? This weirdo
Yeah,
stalker.
no, no. A lot of times, like I
Yeah.
said, I've had experiences where I meet, in my line in the entertainment business, I'll run into people that are my heroes, and they were just shitty people.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, damn, man, I wish I'd never met my hero, and I didn't want to be that dude to somebody, you know. I've had
Right.
like super famous comedians tell me, get the fuck out of here, and like just rude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna be cool with everybody until they do something disrespectful and weird or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And
Like,
yeah,
hey man, can you sign my panties? Can you sign my drawers? This is
nah.
for my grandmother.
No, I can't be having that. And, people are crazy. I've been listening to way too many true crime podcasts recently. So
Bro.
I I can't even imagine it. Yeah, it was like you said when you were traveling the country, watching for killers. I'd be watching my back every second. So I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But
Just I advise you don't listen to that before you go to bed though. You got some weird
oh
ass niggas. Man, why am I going?
no, no, no. That's only daytime, strictly daytime, for sure. But yeah, like you mentioned with different comedians, you said I've heard that term a lot, like don't meet your heroes because they can be assholes, like you mentioned, and then that'll ruin your perception of them. But these people I'm about to mention, I don't know them. I don't know if I'll ever meet them, but their work is what I appreciate. Separating the art from the artist. So some of my favorite comedians personally are Eddie Murphy, George Lopez, Martin Lawrence, Cat Williams, Chris
Oh
Tucker,
man,
etc.
dope.
Those are my top five, I would say.
Great, great comics. The Chris Rock. No, you didn't say. I met Chris Tucker. I met Chris Tucker, Chris Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah, never met Eddie Murphy yet, but Martin Lawrence I met once. That's a great list you got there, man. A lot of legends.
yeah, for sure. And so I was gonna say, like, do you model, if anyone, like when it comes to comedy, do you model after anyone by chance, or
Yeah,
you just kind of do your
absolutely.
own?
I'm always inspired by the greats, man. Like Richard Pryor to me was like OG. Like he's, Martin Lawrence and Chris Rock, all those guys, George Carlin. They're like people that actually, when you mention comedy, immediately they're brought up into the conversation. These guys are set up. They created the platform for us for the next generation of comics. So I'm like, you know what? Much respect to them, man. I definitely model and learn from all of them. Those are the OGs.
Absolutely. And so, who would you say is your favorite one you've met?
You know what? Chris Rock was super cool when I met him. I met him at the Comedy Cellar maybe about 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
Super cool, man. Dude, I was like, hey, Chris, man, what's your advice for some young comic like myself? Just keep writing, man. Just keep writing. Write every day. Keep writing. And I'm like, cool. Tommy Davidson, I met when I first started comedy 16 years ago in front of the Laugh Factory in LA. He told me to go up 7 nights a week. I do it till it's instinctive, like until it's like natural. I'm like, damn, 7 nights a week?
Yeah.
No night off? He goes, it's one of those rules. It's like, I don't know if you heard of it, the 10X rule. So basically, oh no, the rule of 10,000, something like that, 10,000 hours. Anything you do for 10,000 hours, you'll be an expert at it. So I think that was like the principle. So basically, with that theory, like, oh well, if I go up every night for 10 years, I'll eventually get really good and natural at what I do. So I was a
Yeah.
maniac first few years. I never took a day off. I would do 7 nights a week. And if I miss a night of comedy, I would go up 2 or 3 times the following night. But it became up to a point that, I just wanted to be good and I never wanted to be mediocre. And
Right.
now I'm a lot more lenient and easy on myself. I give myself 2 or 3 days off because now, I've been doing it for so long. But I take those time. I'm still thinking about jokes and I'm still thinking about, okay, cool, man. You know what? That would be funny.
Yeah.
So I do a lot more reflecting and also experiencing life because I feel like if I'm always on stage, I'm not experiencing regular things in life to where I can translate that on stage.
Yeah. I was saying you need those experiences for the jokes, right?
Right, exactly. Like I got married 6 years ago. That changed my whole direction of my comedy because
Yeah.
before that, I used to talk about just being single and dating, da 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 da, and then being married to my wife from St. Louis. It's kind of like it added like 30 minutes of new material that I can talk about with that experience. So sometimes like the experiences and life experiences will inspire you to create. I
Absolutely.
believe that, whether it's comedy or music or creating TV shows or films, you need life experience to trigger that neural pathway in your mind to be like, you know what?
For
And
sure.
then
And yeah, when it comes to the audience too, I feel like if it's a life experience for you, maybe it'll relate with the audience, and then
absolutely,
they'll
everybody
reciprocate that
goes.
energy.
Everybody in life goes through similar emotions. we're all having this human experience, with relationships, and we deal with the same pains of, things like that. So I feel like I try to write the most relatable things in my comedy. But in order to do that, I have to connect, man, with myself and live life, and also not be afraid to travel and talk to people. I always tell
Hmm.
young comics that, man. I'm like, you got to travel. You got to meet people from all walks of life. That helped me in the cruise ships because I was a road comic, and I'm going to different cities performing in front of different kinds of people from all walks of life. And I didn't know that was going to help me. Once I got on the cruise ships, the people from all over the country are there in that one room. I'm like, like
Yeah.
you've seen the ships, man. You got people from Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, California, North Carolina, Georgia,
All over. Yeah, that's
New
why I
York,
love the ships. There's
everywhere.
so many people from different
Man.
areas, you know.
And I'm like, and it blew my mind. I'm like, at first it was intimidating when I first started doing the ships. I'm like, I never been to these places, man. Are they gonna laugh at my jokes? But then I realized I've been training for this all my comedy career because I'm performing in front of people from different cities already. So my
Right.
comedy has been universal from the beginning, and it was a surprise to me. So I tell a lot of comics that, man, get out of your comfort zone and travel a little bit. So try comedy in different cities, because then or put yourselves in uncomfortable situations. You know, I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of like comics that are only funny in their city because they're only making local references. And they're
Right.
like, man, it's not gonna fly if you do that in another city. Nobody cares about your local references. Maybe it's funny amongst your city or your hood, but the moment you leave, you're like, nobody's gonna get it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
learning to adjust, and then even for me too, like there's some stuff that I say on cruise ships that are only funny on cruise ships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that
then
makes
like
sense. Yeah.
I can't do it I can't do it at a club. So I think just to be more well versatile, just to travel. I mean, there was one time, maybe I think around 2010, I drove from LA, Los Angeles to Brooklyn, New York, cross country road trip. And during
That's
this
crazy.
road trip, I was hitting up different open mics in different cities and trying out material. So it's not like you have to be booked to do comedy. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
every
Yeah, I feel you.
city has a comedy scene or some sort of amateur open mic night, or create a stage for yourself. One time I drove from LA to Vancouver, Canada, and
Mm.
there was like a music event where they're playing like acoustics, and I told them the host, I was like, I'm from LA. I drove like I drove hours, almost 2 days to get here.
Right.
Can I do some comedy? They let me do comedy. So it's like, you can create opportunities for yourself to perform.
Yeah, like you can't confine yourself, you know, gaining different experiences. And like people on the ship, I think it's easy to like point out and ask somebody where they're from, and when they mention the state or wherever, maybe you can use your past experience if you travel to that place and
Oh
relate
yeah,
with them in that way.
absolutely. And it's cool to have that arsenal in your back pocket. You know what I mean? It's like just having that experience.
For sure, for sure. And so okay, this is kind of deep too. I know we was trying to avoid the deep question. I don't know if I would say deep, but we'll see. So you mentioned in a lot of jokes that your wife is black. Obviously, you're Filipino. So
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
black man, yeah, as a black man myself and another minority trying to land myself in the entertainment landscape, how do you feel you've navigated through it? Also being a minority.
You know what? They're like I mentioned earlier. There are opportunities that you can create for yourself. There are plenty of times that you would, if I would sit here and say, you know what, they not gonna feel me because this is an all white room, this is an all black room, or this is all Latinos. They're not. Sometimes I use it to my advantage, being that, you know, sometimes I'm the oddball of the room. I've done shows where it's all black comics on the lineup and I'm the only Filipino, or vice versa. I'm the all white comics on the lineup, all Latinos. And I just use it to kind of make myself stand out. And then sometimes I can't allow myself to think like, oh, they ain't gonna feel me because it's already what do you call that? Before a boxer gets in the ring, you kind of talk
Like,
yourself into losing the fight already. Like,
oh yeah,
sometimes you can't do that to yourself. For me, it's like, my uniqueness is what's gonna make me stand out. My experiences, my life experiences, my wife, what I mean, us coming from different cultural backgrounds kind of creates comedy in itself
yeah,
for
for
me,
sure.
you know, and there's things that we can find in common, it's crazy. Like I said, there are plenty of times that you'll run into people that they just don't some people just won't like you. But that's okay. That's life though, man.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
It's
yeah. There's
like,
nothing you can do about that.
I'm not here to navigate life trying to get everybody to like me. There's 7 billion people in this world. Even if for like 0.1% of that like me, that's all I need to sell comedy show tickets or
For
to
sure.
buy merchandise. I don't need everybody in the world to like me. As long as there's people out there that'll connect with me, that's the ones that's who I'm gonna fuck with. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Jay,
feel you.
you hit me up. You fuck with me, I fuck with, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
cool. That's all I need. And everything you do, there's always gonna be somebody who's envious and be like, man, I don't like him for whatever reason. His eyes crooked or his eyebrows are too thick. They'll find
right.
some reason to hate you, man.
Yeah, any
And I
reason.
can't get any reason, and I can't get caught up on that. You know what? That's what they're prejudiced about. You know what I mean?
For
My
sure.
ears are too small.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to use that to your advantage.
Exactly. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to play victim and say, you know what, I'm not presented no opportunities because I'm not, you know,
Yeah,
I'm not accepted in mainstream clubs or black clubs or Latino clubs or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm going to
right.
find my own lane. A lot of times, what's worked for me is I try to find my own lane. You know,
Yeah,
there are going to be plenty of times where in the years I've been doing comedy, there are plenty of times where people would not, like I said, would not respond to my messages, my emails, text messages, and I would sit there and get discouraged. And I'm like, man, why doesn't this person hit me back? You know,
yeah, for sure.
but next thing you know, I get a phone call or email for somebody else or something else. Like the cruise ship opportunity came out of nowhere to me. I was ready to
Mm,
quit comedy. This gave me more, an opportunity to, oh wow, man, you mean they're gonna pay me to travel the world and make
yeah,
people laugh?
not a bad
Yeah,
gig.
bro. You know what? And it was crazy about it. As soon as I got on the ships, my colleagues, the regulars in clubs,
Mm,
they were like, there's a lot of negative people out there. It doesn't
yeah,
matter what industry you're in. Some people only want to see you do good, but not better than them.
right.
So, and I started learning that. I'm like, oh man, well, y'all ain't happy for me because I got this opportunity, and they'll clown me too. They'll be like, you a cruise comic, your career is dead, bro. That's what comedians go to die, is the cruise ships. I'm like, you kidding me? I feel more alive than ever. I'm doing
Mm,
3 hours of material on every cruise I do. I'm getting more stage time than a regular comic in any city.
yeah,
So
as long as you're satisfied,
yeah,
even though they give them backhanded compliments or criticism,
exactly.
whatever the case
So
may
for
be.
me, it's like I'm not going to take the negativity. I'm going to take, you know what? For me, I feel like this is my path, you know, and then the opportunities I'm given on the ships to meet people like you, to meet people from all over the country. This gives me a chance to stack up and produce my own things, man. Like now I have the opportunity to just, I do this full time now. So my job is literally just all day just to write jokes, come up with material, and then perform it at night. That's all I got to do every time.
Not a
I don't
bad
got to worry
gig.
about nothing else. I don't got to do no side hustle. And then so now I'm able to reinvest in myself. So now I'm getting paid to do what I love. What can I do to invest in myself. I'm planning to put out my own comedy specials, comedy albums, invest in maybe a production or anything else to just to reinvest back into myself. Because you know why? Nobody else is going to believe in you but you. You're going to be your best, your number one investor is yourself.
Absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
not going to sit around and wait for somebody to discover me. You know what I mean? If some people be like, man, I can't wait to be discovered. Maybe nobody's trying to, that's not happening anymore, man. Like you said, there's opportunities now because of the internet and social media. You can create your own lane and your own platform. There's
For sure.
not, we don't live in a day and age where you got to wait around for somebody knocking your door. You just got to go out there and get it.
Yeah, got to force the issue. And like I'm trying to invest in myself too, because I've had the show for 3 years, so I'm trying to get my own studio here in Nashville, or maybe collaborate with someone that has better equipment, high tech equipment. I got my merch, got the shirt on. Trying to build a brand for myself and invest back in myself, like you said. So I don't know. It's fun, man. I really enjoy doing it, and people back home, they enjoy it as well. And I read a little bit about how you do like fundraisers and donation events. So that really hit for me because being from a small city, I try to help out in any way I can because I lived there for first 22 years of my life. I had never been outside of that city, so I always try to help in any way I can, even though I'm not, booming myself, but just for the
Hey, you know
factor of,
what?
you know,
You took that step and you started somewhere. You created a
right?
foundation.
Yeah,
And that's the first step. And it's good. You take that, invest in your passion, because nobody else is going to do it. You can't wait
yeah,
for somebody to do it. You know, and then continue to grow, man. And like I
for
said,
sure,
just put out good vibes, man. It's all about like people will vibe with you if you got that same vibe. You're cool, we cool.
absolutely. So yeah, I got a quick story time for you. Quick
I
story
bet.
time. So it's something that happened on the ship. All right. So, quick preface. So, I'm not sure if you're homies with him, but we saw a few comedians on the boat. I think it was four comedians, you included. So, obviously, you were the funniest, in my opinion. My family agreed. And I think the rest of the boat agreed too, based on the reactions like we saw in the crowd. But there's another comedian on the boat, Bob Biggerstaff. Are you familiar with him?
I met him. Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I met him once or twice.
Okay. So yeah, he was on the boat too. So he was the first comedian we saw after we got on the ship. So I'm just gonna keep it real with you. My family and we didn't really find his stuff funny. Not us personally. That's not even hating. I'm just telling it how it is because the rest of the crowd seemed to laugh because of how dry his jokes were, not at how funny they were, if that makes sense. But maybe that was his thing, like dry humor, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I mean, every
But
comic has their own style. I get it. Some will vibe with
right,
others. It's like I know comedy is very subjective. I've never seen his stand up. So I don't know. I have no opinion about it, but I know I've seen comics that are not my cup of tea. So that I'm
right,
like, but people love them. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay,
right,
hey,
right. And yeah,
everybody, but
the
I feel like it's music too, man. There's sometimes like people like love death metal.
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
get into it, stuff like that. But yeah, I appreciate though, man. Thanks for the love, and thanks for the fam. So you
yeah,
went
yeah.
to where you was on a cruise with your family?
I was. My grandmom. It was for my cousin. She just graduated high school actually, so this was a cruise for her. And yeah, I was with my parents, my grandmom, and my cousins. But yeah,
That's dope, man. Shout out to the family, man. What's the last name?
fudge like the chocolate.
What? That's a real. I thought it was a stage name.
No, that's my
Man,
last
you
name.
know what, man? You know what's gonna sound real chocolate and tasty. Yo, that's a real last name. That's like this.
Yeah,
The whole generations of fudge.
it's
That's
legit.
hilarious.
It's legit,
That's
not a
legit.
stage name.
That I thought that was a stage name. How funny is that?
But
So
yeah, they
your family ain't make like brownies.
no, we should. Honestly, that should be a family business. I don't know why they haven't done it.
I know,
I
man.
mean,
That's like
it fits with the name. But
bro. But anyway, shout out to the Fudge family, man.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, they'll love to hear this. They loved you. They loved your show. We saw you twice, I
I
think.
appreciate it, man. And you should be proud of my man right here, Jay Fudge, for doing this
For
thing,
sure.
taking the steps to interview very interesting people, and make sure you share his links, whatever platform he's on. What platforms are you on, Jay?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
All
Gonna
that.
be on YouTube, TikTok soon. Yeah, we're trying to grow the
There you
platform.
go.
But
Family should always be number one. They should be the first supporters. It's not always like that though. It took years for my family to support me, Jay.
really,
My mother was always like, "When you gonna get a real job? You still doing that
right.
comedy thing?" And then last month I took her on a cruise, and she's like, oh, "Okay, I see what you're doing now."
Yeah, you had to show her, had to
Exactly.
get that
It's not
first
that they're
person
not always
experience.
gonna be believers in the beginning. You're gonna have friends and family members gonna give you pushback and not
For sure.
always believe in our dreams, but it's okay. But
And
for
yeah,
those that
it's funny you
support
mentioned
Jay,
that
family and friends continue to support him because the entertainment business is hard, man.
for sure. And
It's
it's funny
only
you mentioned that because when I walked past you at St. Thomas, I was with my grandmom and I was considering. I was like, "Is that Vince?" And I was thinking, like, should I go up to him? And she was like, "You should go ahead and do it. Ask him to come on the show." So
shout out to Grandma, man. Thank you, Grandma, for pushing Jay to ask me to be interviewed. So
yeah,
that's
for
love right
sure,
there. And
for
I hope
sure.
y'all enjoyed your cruise.
Yeah, it was great, man. It was great, man. I did not want to come back to Nashville. Trust me, it was one of the best 8 days ever.
No, it's
But yeah,
I always feel that way when I'm in the Caribbean. I'm like, man, people out here living a different reality, man.
yeah, 100%.
It's a whole different reality, but it's dope.
But yeah, going back to what I was saying about Bob Biggerstaff, I think that's his name. Yeah, Bob Biggerstaff. So at his show, there's a drunk couple who confronted him, and they were being super loud in the back during the entire show. And they're being hecklers, I guess you could say. And they screamed at Bob, saying, "Maybe you should watch Kevin Hart and learn how to be a real comedian." And
Man.
yeah, yeah, he didn't take too lightly to that. So he responded, "Maybe you should tell your wife to shut the fuck up and get out." So
Oh,
yeah, you can see where this is going. And they kept going at it, and eventually the couple left. So him kicking out the hecklers was the most applause he got that entire night, if that tells you anything. So
sheesh.
that was the most reactions. So the man was obviously drunk and fuming. So you know what? He wasn't going to let that slide. He was talking to his wife like that. So after the show, he came and found us, and he asked where the comedian went. So I'm assuming Bill like hauled ass out of, I mean Bob, I keep saying Bill. I'm assuming he hauled ass out of there and went back to his stateroom or wherever, like went into hiding. So the reason I bring this up is, have you ever dealt with like any heckler situations, and what's the craziest one you've ever experienced? Because that was insane.
Oh man. You know what? I've had some crazy incidents in shows. Usually, like, you know what? When I get heckled, they're usually drunk and I play with them because I'm a very playful comic on stage. I'm not a mean spirit. Like a lot of people are scared to sit in the front row in the front, because they think the audience, the comedian's gonna go in on them. I'm not
Hmm.
a mean comic, when I do it, when I play with people, but it's not mean spirited, So when I do get heckled, it's more like people are just drunk and yelling and they want to have fun with me, but they're not saying mean shit.
Right.
Maybe when I first started comedy and I didn't know how to handle it, and I'll just be like, I'll just freeze up. But lately I've had a crazy incident though. Maybe I want to say this happened 6 years ago, right? Where I'm in the middle of nowhere, and it was in California, a place called Lancaster, California, right? I got
Yeah.
invited to do a show at this bar. All right, cool, man. I ain't doing nothing. It was a Tuesday night. I drove there, and there was like 10 motorcycles, like over a dozen motorcycles
Yeah.
parked in front of this bar. And I'm like,
Yeah.
ah, shit, it's a biker bar.
Biker gang bar.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like a Sons of Anarchy situation.
Yeah. Wild hogs.
wild, bro. And then when I walked in, everybody was so rowdy. The host of the show was getting heckled, and they were cussing them out. It was a wild situation, and I'm the headliner, so all the comics were getting, heckled. I go on, and it was, I mean, I was 15 minutes into my set. I was supposed to do like 45 minutes. 15 minutes into my set, a fight breaks out in the back of the room, and somebody
Oh,
yells, "He's got a gun!" I'm like,
oh
what?
man.
Yeah, so I'm still in comedy mode, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, man, well, I ain't in my set yet, I'm killing it, for 15 minutes. So I'm like, how do I didn't even do my closer. This was going on in my head.
Yeah.
The guy who had the gun was the host of the show. So the
Gotcha.
guy was like, they were trying to jump him. This biker gang was trying to jump him. And
Oh,
this guy, the host of the show, is former military, and he's the one that booked me for the show. So I wasn't scared of nothing. I know he was going to shoot me. I'm the talent that he booked.
right.
So I'm like, I'm on stage. I'm like, hey man, what I do? And he goes, Vince, get the fuck out of here, man. And I'm like, wait, I ain't get paid. He goes, just get the fuck out of
Yeah, you say you were killed on stage. Somebody else about to get killed too.
here. Yeah. So the next day, I get a text from him, right? He goes, "Man, sorry about last night, bro. I might have you back." But I'm like, "Nah, I'm good, man. I think I want to come back."
Yeah, that's
but
all you
yeah,
need to see.
but he did send me a Venmo. I got paid, which is crazy. I mean, that was wild. So it's not always it could be a uh, crazy career, man. Because you're always gonna deal with a lot of drunk, rowdy people sometimes.
Right, right. And like, has anyone? I guess how do I put this? Like, if it's offensive, I guess, because obviously there's a warning beforehand. Offensive things may be said. So if anyone gets out of line like that, are you still in comedy mode, like reacting to someone drunk who's heckling you? Or
Yeah, I'm still in comedy mode. I still, like I said, I'm still gonna do my job the best I can. I'll make the situation, uh, make it funny to my advantage.
right?
Some, yeah, but people will get pissed off, and sometimes I've had an occasion when a lady yelled at me, whatever, whatever. But they usually, like I said, they don't get that mad because I'm very playful on stage. I'm
Gotcha.
not a mean spirited comic,
Yeah. So you never had anything like Bob
No,
Biggerstaff experience, like follow you back to your stateroom on a boat
no.
because you
You know what
cussed
it is?
out.
Like I said, because I know how to like kind of calm the situation down.
Yeah, I feel like he ignited it, like he made it worse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I just saw a video on TikTok where like the comic was roasting this heckler, and she
yeah,
was pissed. Like she was ready to like, I think she threw something on stage at him. My thing is when I see somebody pissed, I just know how to like calm the situation down. I mean, I do my best. So it's never happened. Knock on wood.
oh yeah. Knock on wood. I got some wood right
Yeah.
here for sure. But yeah, that was craziest experience I saw on the boat. But yeah, once again, I thought you were hilarious, funniest one. My favorite joke of yours is I feel like you do it a lot because it's like your closer, but the Chinese restaurant owner.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
you twice. Yeah, I saw you twice, and that was your ending joke both times.
Thanks, bro.
So it's
It's
like, is that your favorite joke you had?
It's one of my favorite jokes. I got different. I started doing different closes since you last time you saw me, but yeah, that's one
Yeah,
of them. Is funny. 'Cause that's something like my boy had told me, like in passing. He goes, "Man, I never seen you without your hat on." And I took
yeah,
it off, and then he was like, "Damn, bro, you look like you're in the Chinese restaurant." I'm like, "Man, fuck you, bro." I said, "You know what? I'm gonna use that on stage," and I did that, and it's just like you get such a fucking great reaction that yeah, I just play around with it now. But the thing is like I've never had people that mad if you're doing your job though. I feel like if you're a comic and you're funny enough, nobody's going to fight you or yell at you. If they're yelling at you, it's because they're laughing with you and they're having fun. But I've
right.
never had a situation where they want to they're so mad because I'm not funny. Me personally, but like I said, everybody has different comedy styles. Some people love dry humor. I'm, I
I
like
feel
it.
you.
I'm a big fan of like act out and just being goofy on stage.
Gotcha. And is getting to my last two questions. So, being in media, having a production company, like what other types of media have you, you know, delved into, worked on? You mentioned music and shows, stuff like that.
Um, I've been on a reality show when I first started comedy back in 2014. I did stand up a couple times. I was an independent film, Attack of the Killer Donuts with C Tom. They still showed on Showtime. I had
The
a scene
Killer
with
Donuts.
Attack of the Killer Donuts. Yeah, it's one of those. It falls into like the realm of like Sharknado.
I was literally just about to say that. I was about to say Sharknado.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I had a scene with C. Thomas Howell at a speaking role. So C. Thomas Howell
yeah.
was famous back in the '80s. He was like in the Outsiders. He was in the first Spider-Man movie. So I had a scene with him. And so in this movie, I eat radioactive donuts. It gave me superpowers. It gave me super strength. And so my name was Tom the Perp. I was a perp in
Uh,
the back of the cop car. I was able to knock out the police officers, break out of the car, break out of custody. Like I kicked the police car window off the hinge, and yeah,
yeah,
it's called Attack of the Killer Donuts. So I did a couple of acting gigs, but that one was fun for me. And
yeah. I'm gonna have to look that one up. That sounds crazy.
yeah, it's on show, I think in Amazon. I think it's on Amazon. It used to be on Showtime and Demand, but somebody told me they see it on Amazon. It might still be on Showtime, but I was in, like I said, I did stand up in a couple of TV shows, and I was on a reality show back in 2014. But I'm recently recorded a comedy album, which is still being edited. So hopefully, in the next few months, I'll be able to release that and put on like iTunes and Spotify too. And then I'm planning to record my first comedy special next year.
Gotcha. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. But yeah, congrats on that. And I'm trying to get my own media empire started as well. I'm only 23. I got time. Still working on it, but
Yeah,
better get
man.
it started sooner and later for sure.
It's always good to start early, man.
Absolutely, absolutely.
By the
And
time you're in your 30s, you can retire.
let's hope. Let's hope for sure. And I can get away from this 9 to 5. But yeah,
There you go. Exactly.
that's the vision. But last question I had for you today was, how has your experience on Burner Talk compared to your experiences with basements, reptiles,
Mm,
the
Man,
all
you
that?
know what? I had a lot of fun, Jay. You know what? This was not. It wasn't weird. Nobody was cooking meth in the background, so we good, man. It wasn't. It was in somebody's mama's basement, so it was
Yeah,
very. You're very professional. Keep doing what you're doing. I enjoyed it, and thank you for clarifying. Fudge is your real last name. That's pretty dope.
that is my real last name, not a stage name.
That's sick, man. Yo, give it up for you. You gotta. Y'all gotta have next time y'all on a cruise. Y'all should have matching T-shirts, man. The Fudge
Yeah.
family.
Oh, we did actually. First day we
You
got
did?
on. Yeah, we did.
Oh, love that, man.
Yeah, actually, all of us we wore Burner Talk shirts. It wasn't this one. It was like a matching pink one, but we all ripped
Oh,
the show on the boat.
that that's dope that your family's that supportive. You see, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, for sure. And we got a few people asking about the show, like what Burner Talk meant. So it was
Well,
dope to
I
connect with
hope
those people.
Burner Talk takes off and you get more success, more followers, more views, more, grow a bigger audience and, keep continuing to support Burner Talk Radio. You know, this is this has been a very, very fun interview and I appreciate you, Jay. Thank you, man, for having me.
Absolutely, and thank you for taking the time to come
Yeah,
on.
and then for people that want to follow me, I'm not always this serious. For some, sometimes I feel like I gotta wear a different hat so
Yeah,
you can see behind the scenes what happens. I'm catch my comedy clips. I'm always on Instagram. I post them on TikTok. I'm trying to get more active on YouTube, but just look up Vince Royale right there. VinceRoyale. For the older folks, I'm on Facebook too, and on
MySpace.
in
He on MySpace.
MySpace and AOL chat.
Yeah, LimeWire.
There you go.
But yeah,
Catch
I
me.
got you. Yeah, I'll yeah, we'll make sure we get the tags and get the link sent to you, get it out. for sure. But yeah, once again, I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
no doubt, man. Keep continuing to support my man, Jay Fudge on Burner Talk. And make sure you follow me too, man. All the listeners, check in on me. Be like, man, they go Vince, man. Now I know what he talked about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, I think the whole theme of this is just follow your passion. You know, believe in yourself, in your dreams. Don't let no hater, nobody stop you from doing great things in life, man.
Hey, that's a perfect way to end it. Hero statement, Optimus Prime statement right there.
There you go.
All right,
Autobots,
roll
trends,
out.
roll out.
All right, man. I appreciate you. I'll let you go. Thank you again.
Thank you, brother. All right, man.
All right,
Peace out.
have a good one. All right, that's the end of this one. Thanks again to Vince for